Hey, what's going on, everybody? Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Horror Movie Review with Daniel Richardson. Second episode. I'm really shocked that, the first episode got as many views as it did, so thank you guys for, checking it out, for watching. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. So tonight, we're going to hit another classic with a review of The Shining. One of Stephen King's best. Now, not forget that. Stephen King's best adaptation, period, bar none. Not just one of them. You can say that about most of his, movies, but this is the best, Stephen King adaptation. But that'll be later on. Let's go ahead and get started right now. I guess I should mention real quick, with the format here. So, with the TPS YouTube channel, we do several different shows. A lot of them just like this, but we got TPS TV, Journey Through the Dark Side, the Horror Movie Review with Daniel Richardson, plus just other stuff that we drop from time to time. So, whereas, when we film these quite a bit ahead of time. So, like, a lot of the news may come off a little late. Yeah, it's YouTube, so someone may not even stumble across this video for like another 2 years. So they ain't really no difference. However, we did learn that with the horror Villain Showdown, the Villain Showdown that we're doing. Like last night, I uploaded the video. This video will be uploaded next week, kind of thing. And so there wasn't really enough time to calculate all the votes. We got a couple in already. So we figure what we'll do is that'll be delayed. So we'll get the results of the Villain Showdown the following week. So, and there'll be a new one up this, tonight too. So no problem there. But yeah, just so you guys know, there is a bit of a delay. So if you guys are like watching this when it airs and you're like, wow, this news seems like it came out a couple weeks ago, it's because it did. Because it did. So let's get into some horror movie news, shall we? The Walking Dead. It's been going strong. Well, it's been shambling along for a while. It's been going for a while, we'll say that. I won't say it's been going strong, but it's been going along for a while there. I honestly, I can't say much about it because I've only seen the first season. The first season was really good, and then I just heard so much blah about season 2 that it kind of scared me away. And then by that point, it was just like the show took off without me, and I'm just like, I don't really want to catch up to it. And then it just seemed like there was a point where like it was the biggest thing ever, and then there's a point where everybody just fucking hated it, which, I don't know. Once again, I can't, make an opinion because I haven't really watched it beyond season 1. Which Frank Darabont, how do you pronounce his name, like, disappears. And it's like season 1 was great. Maybe if they would have kept him on there, it could have been, even better as the show went on. But either way, it's had a spinoff, Fear of the Walking Dead. And then there's even going to be another show that is in production right now, I guess. Yet another spinoff. But it was announced a while back ago, a couple years back, that they was wanting to do theatrical films. And I guess some of the details are now rolling in. There's going to be a trilogy of Walking Dead movies that will focus on the character of Rick. Rick Grimes, is that it? Andrew Lincoln guy. It's going to be about him, and I guess at whatever point he departed in the series, it's going to pick up from there. Once again, I don't know much about what's going on in The Walking Dead, but they said that it's going to be a lot different than what we're used to on the series. Because, once again, why would you pay to see something in the theaters that you can literally just watch for free on TV? Or free-ish, You gotta pay your cable bill, I suppose. So anyways, Walking Dead movie, Rick Grimes trilogy coming at you, and they're promising it's going to be bigger and better, and they're going to take it in a different direction. So yeah, maybe some. I'll check the trailer out, honestly. I don't think I'm going to go back and get caught up on fucking years of Walking Dead. I'll probably just Wikipedia that thing. So I love about Wikipedia. You can literally just get like a season overview of any show, like in a paragraph. Take 10 episodes of a TV show, put it in like 7 sentences. I'm caught up, just like that. That's how I finished Lost. I fucking hated Lost. I watched season 1, and it started off kind of cool, and then about 5 episodes in, I'm like, God damn, this sucks. It was just. And I found out later, like, they don't really explain a lot of stuff, so they just have, like, random, like, polar bears show up on a tropical island, and they're just like, it's wacky, don't worry about it. and it'd be like one show would be really cool and some weird shit's going on, but then the next show is just like, we're going to do a flashback about this character you don't give a shit about. I just didn't care. I'm just like, I gotta sit through this shit for 7 years. Fuck that. So I just went to Wikipedia and literally just read 7 different paragraphs. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's what the show is. All right, solid. So I feel like if the Walking Dead movie looks good, like a trailer looks good, I'll just read it and then be like, all right, got it. See how they do. See what kind of zombies they're fighting this time. Speaking of new horror films coming out, it was announced that they are making a 5th Purge movie. Now, regardless of what your thoughts may be on the Purge series, I personally am a fan. I really do love, it's fun. I mean, it's not, the first one was kind of a horror film, but then from there it just kind of goes into thriller, social thriller, or, more, political type thrillers, I guess, talking about the current state, I like it. Now, here's what's kind of different about the guy who does it. I think his name is, I should have wrote that down, James DeMarco. And if I'm wrong, correct me, please. I think that's the dude's name. He's the guy who's directed like all 4 of them so far. I think he even did the series. I have not seen the TV series yet. I heard really bad things initially, but I don't know, the fact that like you always hear bad things about the Purge series or the movies, and I liked them, kind of made me go, fuck it, I'll watch it anyways. But the fact it's TV, I was like, well, it's been kind of watered down, but whatever. Sorry, went on a rant there. So anyways, the 5th movie, though, it's going to take in a different location, and he says that they're going to get out of the urban settings. The first movie took place in a little suburban house, kind of a rich neighborhood type thing. But then 2, 3, and 4 was just straight up inner city fucking Purge. Now, when you watch the first Purge movie, that's what you want to see. You're like, all right, we see what this family goes through, but I want to see what the fuck's going on out there in the heart of the Purge. And then as the years would go by, I'm just like, well, what's like the small towns like? Or what's like, I don't know, like country areas? Like, I don't know. And after like watching Rick and Morty, and they did an episode kind of like the Purge on another planet, it's just like, we do need like this wacky, insane, like, I don't know. I would love to see, I would want to see, not necessarily a parody or a spoof, but a more lighthearted take on the Purge. I feel like just weird, wacky shit. I don't know. Like, if you do one in the country, you get cousins. Like, no one's killing. Like, everybody goes for the killing. I don't see how, like, that's, like, the goal in all these movies. Everyone's like, all crime, including murder. And I guess that's what the government's trying to get you to do, is to kill each other. That way the population stays low and all that stuff. But it's just like, what about the people who aren't really in, like, overcrowded, populated areas? Like, he's just like, you know what? I'm in the bestiality, and this is the one time a year I can indulge, and no one can judge me because guess what? Everything's legal. Where's that Purge movie? That's what I want to see. So anyway, the 5th Purge movie's coming out. It doesn't have a title yet. I doubt they'll call it Purge 5 because they usually just throw a subtitle in there. So hope it's like Cowboy Purge or something like that. I don't know. Interesting to see where they go with it though. So, and then this last week they dropped the trailer for the new Netflix series Locke Key. Locke Key, for those who don't know, is based on a graphic novel that was, I don't know who the artist is, but it was written by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son. My cousin, he was really big into, he still is, in the Locke Key series. I don't know how long the books ran. They did like, I don't know, 5 to 7 years, I think, is what it ran. And then they did like a little spin-off, whatever. But I read the first 2 books. Like each book was like a year's worth of issues or whatever. So I read the first 2 years of this thing. I read it, borrowed it from him, and I was really impressed. I thought it was really good. It's a dark fantasy, and without really going into a whole lot of detail, it's basically a single mother and her kids who, after their father was murdered, they end up going back to the family house. The family is rich and they own the Locke estate. And they end up going back there with the uncle and just trying to get their lives going again, restart everything. However, they discover there's some keys in this place, but each key has a different power. One key can switch your gender. One key can make you teleport to another location. One key you can literally reach into your own subconscious and pull out different feelings or whatever. It's definitely, like I say, it's more fantasy than horror. The books had more of a had a horror vibe to them, though. Whereas when I saw the trailer, it did seem like it was kind of missing that element. Like it looked like it was almost like a Tim Burton fantasy, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing, but anyway, it didn't really have that darkness I was hoping for. However, I'm open-minded and I want to check it out. Like I said, I really love the source material. This isn't the first time this thing was adapted, though. Back in the 2000s, they tried to make it a show on Fox, and they actually shot the pilot. And I want to say there was even like advertisements for it. They were going to air. I mean, I don't know if they ever did officially air or not, but for whatever reason, they pulled the plug on it. Footage would show up later on online. And I think I read the other day that because of Locke Key coming out, there's a lot of like, what happened to that Fox one? They did re-release the pilot, or it didn't release it, maybe it's online. But either way, it's online somewhere. I don't want to watch it though, because I'm afraid if I watch the pilot to that and it's really good, and then I'm just like, what could have been? And then I watch the pilot or the first episode of the Netflix series, and like, wow, this sucks dick. Then I'll just hate the Netflix series. So I'm like, I'll watch the Netflix series first, and then if I do or don't like it, then I can always go back and check out the Fox pilot. But we can always just check that out when we get there. Also talking about TV news, American Horror Story, which is coming up on their 10th season. FX just renewed it for another 3 seasons on top of that, so we're going up to 13 seasons of American Horror Story. I'm kind of behind on that. I still, because Netflix, Hulu, and everything else, they don't release. Like, when you watch like Hulu, they release, like, I'm watching Family Guy right now. Family Guy, Fox, fuck it. Every Sunday, after Family Guy airs, it comes on Hulu. For some reason, FX, who's also a Fox company, doesn't do that shit for some reason. So, like, It's Always Sunny and American Horror Story, I gotta wait a whole fucking year before those come out. I mean, I'm not buying cable, and I'm not gonna. They're like, download the FX app. We gotta have the fucking cable subscription to actually access that. So anyways, I am behind a little bit. I'm on Apocalypse, is what I'm on. I'm about ready to watch American Horror Story Apocalypse. I know the last one is the one I'm really looking forward to, the slasher one, the Summer of '84, or whatever the fuck that was called. Want to see that one. But then they said the 10th one's coming out, and I guess they're wanting to really kind of go big on this one. And the thing was, I guess speculation was that the 10th one was actually going to be the final season. But then I guess that's not true if they literally just signed it for 3 more years. So yeah, if you're a American Horror Story fan, got more American Horror Story coming your way. So there you go. And finally, in this horror news segment, Scott Derrickson. I didn't realize he directed Doctor Strange, which, good for him, I guess. But in the horror community, we know him as the guy who directed The Exorcism of Emily Rose and Sinister, which he did great in both of those. And to a lesser extent, and this movie gets shit on, but I personally love this movie, Hellraiser Inferno, which, if you look at its IMDb rating and Rotten, everybody, and even fans of the Hellraiser series shit on Inferno. I personally was a fan. I didn't even know the dude directed it. It wasn't until later on I was like, holy shit, Emily Rose and fucking Sinister guy directed that one? No wonder it was good. Anyway, so I guess he was lined up to direct the next Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, and whenever he announced he was doing it, he said it's going to be Marvel's first straight-up horror film. Well, unfortunately, last week they came to a disagreement, and Scott Derrickson has exited the project, and they're now currently looking for another director. And it was funny because I don't know how you pronounce the dude's name. Is it Kevin Feige? The guy who's the guy in charge of the Marvel studio. I guess when they asked him about, because this is when Scott was still a part of the production, and they're just like, so the new Doctor Strange is going to be a horror film, right? And he's like, whoa, no. It may have a couple of scary-ish elements, but definitely not a horror film. And I'm just like, fuck off. I didn't watch Doctor Strange. I don't watch superhero movies. It's just not my thing. But that would have been the one thing I would have went into. If they're just straight up a Marvel horror film, yeah, I'm in. Let's check this out. And it's just I don't know, big studios are just scared to pull the trigger when it comes to horror. If it's already a horror property, then fine. But it's even then they won't. Fucking Universal, they was going to relaunch the Dark Universe, and I was so excited. And then they did The Mummy, and they just fucking shit all over it. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Because you know why? They didn't commit to it being a horror film. They went action-adventure with it. And before that, the original Mummy trilogy, or not the original Mummy trilogy, but the 90s, 2000 Mummy trilogy with Brendan Fraser, same thing. It was literally like they didn't want to go all-out horror. Like, nah, action-adventure. Fuck you. Give us our horror films. Quit being and they'll make money. You would think, especially in the past 2 or 3 years, horror has been very profitable. Do something different. No, they're going to get another director who's just going to be the same fucking... Like, every Marvel movie looks the same. It's the same fucking movie. And they're all directed by different people. That's what's so mind-boggling. It's almost just like they just get someone to run the cameras and set shit up for him. But he's just like, no, here's how we're doing it. I'm Kevin Feige. This is how I do things here at Marvel. I don't know. It's fucking infuriating. So, I don't know. I was looking forward to this movie. Wasn't even going to watch the first one. I didn't even know Scott Derrickson did the first Doctor Strange. Wasn't even going to watch it. Didn't care. It's like, I just want to see the horror one. And now it's like, fuck it. They ain't getting my $7.50 or whatever the tickets are in your area. They haven't $7.50 here in a while, actually. Anyways, so yeah, there it is. That's the horror news this week. So we're going to move on to our fun segment, the Villain Showdown. And last week, Michael Myers took on Hannibal Lecter. Two guys from two different spectrums. And once again, these were just random. I took 16 guys, or villains, and just randomly threw them into a little blender and pulled them out. So we're going to get some mismatches right off the gate. I was kind of glad for that, too. I didn't really just want to have the big heavyweights go off against each other. So this week, we got Freddy Krueger going up against Norman Bates. Alright, so I mean, once again, how this works is you can go one of two ways. If you just want to go your favorite, fuck it, just who you like the best, by all means, vote for your favorite. But if you want to go for who you think would win in a fight, there you go. You can do that as well. It's whatever you want to do. It's in your hands. I don't vote. I will only decide tiebreakers. So if it comes down to a tie when I go to count the votes up, boom, I'll select the winner and go from there. We'll look at our two opponents. First we got Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Dude's got... His series is a little weird. You got 6 movies, I guess, in the regular series. New Nightmare is part 7, but it's the meta one where they're just like, nah, the first 6 were just movies. This one's taking place in the real world, and he broke out of the movies. And then we got Freddy vs. Jason, which I kind of connected with 1 through 6. And that way it all ties together with the Friday 13th movies. And then, of course, we had the god-awful fucking remake in 2010. Been 10 years since that remake, and I'm still irritated they did that shit. Fuck you. Anyways, so Freddy Krueger, weapon of choice, dream powers, and his razor glove. Yeah, I mean, what else can you say about that? Razor glove will pretty much end any fucking fight pretty quickly, but then on top of that, he knows your fears and will use them against you in your dreams. Weaknesses would be, I mean, I guess if you stay up long enough, you can kind of beat him. If you can harness your dream powers and become a dream warrior to someday become a dream master, maybe you can take him down and use the dreams against him. Or just rig up a trap, grab him, and then wake up and bring him to the real world where he is just human. Now, he's still a sadistic, psychotic killer, but now he's mortal. But that doesn't seem to work anyways, because they do that in every fucking movie. Like, he's been brought into the real world like 3 or 4 times, and it doesn't really seem to matter any of the time. Like, he gets killed, but he just comes back anyways. So, I mean, I guess you also got that. He's immortal as well. Or he's not immortal. He just dies and goes to hell, but then somehow finds a way to, through some chicanery, scam his way out of hell one way or another. So there you go. There is Freddy Krueger. Now we got Norman Bates from the Psycho series. I'm really excited, actually, because at Black Friday, I bought the first 4 Psycho movies. I've seen, of course, one's a fucking classic. Love that. That's one of my favorites, period. But I saw 2 years ago, and it just never went on to watch 3 or 4. I want to say 4th one was maybe like a TV movie or something like that. But then they did another like TV spin-off type movie they were trying to do, and then they did the TV series Bates Motel, and then of course they did the 98? They did the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho, which probably the less we spend on that, the better. So anyways, we got Norman Bates. Strengths. Well, he doesn't really know he's doing this shit. You know, he's psychotic. It's Mother that's doing all this stuff. So, he's got that kind of going for him. And essentially, he kind of has that good soul, I mean, even though we realize he is a psychopath and he is going to hide these bodies for Mother, he's sympathetic. You root for him. When he pushes that car into the water and it doesn't quite go down just yet, you're like, holy shit. No, Norman, get away with this murder, Weapon of choice, knife, and dressing up like his mother. Seems to be, the trick right there. Weaknesses, I guess, the fact that, like, he was stopped pretty easily. Like, regular folks can just kind of like, hey, and grab him and, wrestle him to the ground, and then they call the cops and arrest him. That's his weakness right there. Has no supernatural to help him out. Can't really, fight his way out of that. So that's kind of Norman Bates' bag right there. But you gotta think there's a little bit of intelligence there. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he can hold his own. Maybe he's so psychotic that in his dreams, Mother will help him out. And Freddy won't know what the fuck to do. He'll be like, holy shit, this guy has been... Now, that's one thing you never see, is even though they went to, like, they hit all the sick kids in part 3, they put them in a crazy house, an asylum, because of, their dreams were driving them crazy, they were driven crazy. Because of him. So it's like, they're not really... I mean, they were more damaged, but they weren't, like, mentally ill. I would love to see what Freddy would do against somebody who is psychotic or has some sort of illness. Like, what would that dream world look like? And maybe Freddy couldn't hang. So there you guys go. Freddy Krueger versus Norman Bates. Let me know down below in the comment section who do you think wins that match. Be honest, and you know what? Let me know how. If you guys are going to go, like, if it's Freddy Krueger, just like, fucking Dream Master, just easily goes in there and just slices and dices. Or it's maybe Norman Bates. Let me know how Norman Bates would win that. Would Mother help him? Or would he, just be smart enough to be like, you know what, I'll grab a hold of him and we'll wrestle it in the real world. But I think at that point, once again, Sam Loomis, not that Sam Loomis, ended up taking him down and Psycho wrestled him, took the gun out of his hand, or took the knife out of his hand. So, there you go. So Freddy Krueger versus Norman Bates. Put the winner down below, and that will be the Villain Showdown. Next week, we'll have a new lineup, and we'll give you the winner of Michael Myers versus Hannibal Lecter. So, there we go. New movie coming out. By the time you watch this, it'll be the weekend of coming out next week called The Turning. Basically, it's a remake of The Turning of the Screw. This guy who I don't know if it's his brother or sister, but the parents die. And he inherits or adopts his niece and nephew, and they move in with him. So he hires a nanny to basically watch over these kids. Supernatural ghost thing. I believe this was a version of The Innocents that came out like in the 50s or 60s. And I saw that movie, and I don't remember shit from it. Like, I don't remember anything hardly. I don't think I liked it, if I remember correctly, which I know is blasphemous because it's considered a classic, but, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know the story of The Turning of the Screw. I know it's classic literature, and there's probably been a shit ton of movies based on it, and I just couldn't tell you any of them. So anyways, this movie, I'm not really that excited for. I do like the cast. It has, Mike from Stranger Things. And it has that, a movie came out recently called The Florida Project or something like that. Had Willem Dafoe, but it had this little girl in there. And she's also in this movie. So the children are, recognizable young actors and actresses. So, but supernatural horror is just one of those things. But I know it's going to be funny because we'll talk about The Shining, and Shining's fucking awesome here in a second. But I really am not that big on it. And I don't know. I will say this. I do like haunted house movies or possession movies or whatever. But it's like, the ones I love, they're awesome. I don't need to see any more of it. Like, I don't know. And I know like after like Insidious and The Conjuring kind of came out, there was this huge glut of like haunted house movies. They're just like, holy shit, crank them out. And they were all just bad and boring and just, Now, with the exception of The Conjuring, because once again, it's just a really good story, and Insidious, most of the time, I just don't get that excited for it. I'm just kind of like, what else can you do in a haunted house? Like, that's why, with the exception of that remake that just came out, The Grudge, that's why The Grudge, because in The Grudge, it's like, typically in a haunted house, just get the fuck out. Amityville could have been ended pretty quickly. Just leave. Yeah, I get it. Maybe financially you can't, but guess what? It's like, you can clearly see there's ghosts in the house. It's your call at that point. Do you want to stick around because you can't afford to leave, but potentially go crazy and kill your family? Or just leave and say, fuck it, we'll figure it out. There you go. Leave the house. But in The Grudge, you can't leave, because as soon as you leave the house, guess what? It follows you. That was brilliant. Most ghost movies, I just don't give a shit about. Now, the fact that they have kids in this one, it's a little bit better, because, I mean, once again, when you're a kid, you can't really choose to leave. You can run away from home, I guess, but, you know, probably won't fare too well if they're on your own. So, I don't know. This just... And the fact that it's modern day, like, this is supposed to be set today, I think, but it has, like, this Victorian era, you know, Woman in Black style, Hammer horror, haunted house, gothic look to it. I don't know. It just looks boring. Like, I can't get into it. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it. You know, are you guys looking forward to The Turning? If you are, drop those comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of it. Personally, I will probably just skip this one. Like I said, supernatural horror just isn't my thing. But now we talked about supernatural horror. Let's get into one. That's right, guys. It's the main event, the movie I'm going to review tonight from 1980, The Shining. About a family that goes to take care of the Overlook Hotel. Caretakers, if you will. However, the place is haunted, and it's literally going to drive the father insane. However, his son is psychic and knows what's going on to a certain extent, and that may end up throwing a monkey wrench into the whole plans. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to go through this beat by beat. The Shining is fucking awesome. It has been one of my favorite movies since I was a little boy. In fact, this was one of the earliest... This probably is the first horror film I've ever watched. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Jaws came first, but either way. But the funny thing about The Shining is, so, I had an uncle. He loved The Shining. It was like one of his favorite movies. And so whenever I was younger and I stayed with him, I watched this, like, all the time. Thing is, I was like 5 years old. It scared the shit out of me. Like, and the two biggest, you know, obvious ones that scared me was the two little girls at the end of the hallway, scared the shit out of me, and then the woman in the bathtub, because obviously, woman in the bathtub's scary. And the funny thing was, is when I watched this, and it scared the shit out of me, and I grew up in this, so we lived out in the country. Like, we had a farmhouse without a farm, but like out in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? And I had the only bedroom downstairs, which is fucked up, by the way. That's to be child abuse right there. But anyways, I'm downstairs by myself. Parents and my little brother upstairs. I'm down here. Middle of the night, and that's all I'm thinking about now. And the fact that my name's Daniel, and the little girls are like, come and play with us, Danny. That shit's scary. And so, like, literally, would lose sleep. Be scared to go to sleep. Be scared to close my eyes, because I know if I close my eyes, they're going to be right there. And I have to open them. But then when I open them, and there ain't nothing there, I'd be afraid to close them. I'm like, well, if I close them, that's when they're going to get you. Like, you know, as a child, just terrified. But couldn't tell my parents. Couldn't tell them. Because if I told them I was scared of the movie, they wouldn't let me watch scary movies. And that's a weird thing. That was as a child, that was my weird love-hate relationship with the horror world, was that I love watching those movies. You weren't supposed to watch them at that age, and yet that's the draw. You're seeing things that you don't normally see, and yet it scared the shit out of me at that age. And The Shining, like I said, has always stuck with me. It has always been a favorite of mine. I have read the book. I'm a big Stephen King fan. I won't pose. I'm not a big fan of reading. I can read. I like to read certain things. But for the most part, like, I've just never been the guys, like, I'm going to go to the library and pick out some books and read. No. I'm a guy who, when I see a movie and I'm like, oh, it's based on a book, I'll check out the book. I've always been that guy. And the fact that Stephen King is like the king, no pun intended, of horror literature, obviously I'm going to read his stuff. And so anyways, like, I always, you know, at a very young age, I started reading, you know, Stephen King stuff. And I made a decision early on that I would not read the books first. And a lot of people are like, well, you can't do that. No. Because when you read the books first, the movie will never, and I quote, will never live up to it. I mean, it just won't. It's just the way it is. And so, for me personally, I like to watch the movies first, and then you get the writer's cut when you read the book. And it opens it up a little bit more. And that, to me, is the best way to do it. Feel free to disagree. I know it's an unpopular opinion. Go fuck yourself. But that's how I like to do it. Now, with that said, I watched Shining at a very young age. I didn't read the book until I was probably a teenager or whatever. And I'll tell you right now, wholeheartedly, the movie is better than the book. Come at me. I think when I'm reading the book, and clearly it's a lot different, I'm still picturing the way Kubrick sets up his shots. So it's not even like, at this point, I'm not even reading King's version of it. I'm looking at it through Kubrick's lens. When they describe the characters, they're a little bit off. I'm still picturing the actors and actresses in this movie. I feel like Jack Nicholson's performance fucking transcends time, man. Like, it's the performance of a lifetime. When you think of Jack Nicholson, this is the movie you think of. I don't care what anybody says. This is it. Kubrick, same way. Like, Kubrick has done many great films, and I'm a fan of most of those films. To me, though, there's only one Kubrick film. Like, whenever everybody's like, favorite movie, boom, Shining. Flat out. And it goes to King as well. Whenever people just like favorite King movie, it's just like Shining. And it's the one that's like so drastically different from his book, and that's why he hates it so much. But to me, it's a perfect combination. It's trifecta of Kubrick, King, and Nicholson, and it came together perfectly. What I love about Kubrick's direction here is I love how in the book they make it you're very isolated. And that's the whole thing. You're in this abandoned hotel in the middle of the mountains during a blizzard, and you ain't gonna see daylight for like 5 months. Like, you ain't gonna be able to get out for like 5 months. So the isolation's there anyways. But once again, saying it or just kind of showing a cabin or whatever in the middle of the woods, you don't really get the sense of isolation. What Kubrick does here is with the sound design. You always hear the wind blowing, the blizzard outside, and then every scene, there's not a lot of close-ups in this thing, or if there is, he frames it in a way to where you can still see the vastness of the hotel. And it's beautiful when he shoots this. Like I said, every shot in this movie, it's just a person in frame doing whatever, but you see the grand hotel around them. And to me, that really conveys this, they're fucking stuck out here. And it's so big, and they're helpless. The fact that we set up early on, that they're only communicating. The lines are down. This is the worst blizzard in history. This is the worst storm that hit the Denver area in a long time, or whatever. And boom, lines are down already. But they have a radio. However, eventually Nicholson will go in there. I love how Jack Nicholson Jack Torrance, whatever you want to say. I like how he tears up the radio, because I want to say in the book, because I know the miniseries they did it where he slams with the hammer or whatever. And like literally he just bashes it up. But in the movie, he just undoes it and takes out components. I feel like you took out one component, that would have done it. Like he takes it out and you stop hearing it. But he takes like 3 or 4 more just to make sure. Like, yeah, sure, why not? And then of course, same thing with the snow cat goes out there and takes out like the carburetor or whatever. Just undoes a thing. He's like, nah. That's it. Like, doesn't go crazy with it. And that's the great thing is, like, Nicholson goes crazy with an axe later on, and you're just like, expecting to do that. Like, no, he plays it so cool. He just walks in there and just like, nope, ain't doing that anymore. I think another thing that really kind of connects me to this movie, and most horror films, was when you're a kid. The thing that really kind of resonates with me on this one is when you're a kid, you depend on your parents. You depend on adults in general. And I feel like that's where this one kind of hits you at, because what if your parents didn't love you or turned against you? What the fuck would you do then? Now, at least if you live in a suburban neighborhood and your parents turn against you, you can run out the door and just take off and hopefully grab an authority figure or someone else to help you out. When you're isolated in this place that's haunted, like, where the fuck are you gonna go? And, your father, who's supposed to protect you, grabs an axe and starts to come after you. That's some scary shit, and I think that's, a lot of my favorite films from when I was a kid, that still are my favorite, but I think the reason I really gravitated toward them when I was younger was movies that were more from the kid's perspective. Phantasm, we're on Mike's side in that. It, the miniseries, we're on the Losers Club side of that. And it's just like, when you look at the eyes through the, you look through or at the world through the eyes of a kid, it's a different world. It really is. Like, as an adult, we kind of forget that, I think. So, that's what makes this more terrifying is, once again, we're not really... Wendy, of course, she's kind of frail and screechy and whatever it is as well. And let's face it, you could have bashed her fucking brains in. So, I mean, yeah, it's scary for her too, but as a kid, you're definitely more helpless. And then on top of all that, the fact that the place is haunted, it's scary haunted too. Not just like, like Wendy, I feel like Wendy doesn't get the full effect of how haunted this place is. Like, my God, fucking Danny sees the girl in the bathtub, he sees the girls at the end of the hallway, like, he sees some scary shit. Wendy sees, like, skeletons in a dusty room, and she's like, oh my God! It's like, really? You're skeletons. Like, you could get in a fist fight with those, I think you'd win. Well, they don't pull out a weapon. If it's a straight up fist fight, you can win them. You can beat them right there. She sees, like, a furry, like, blowing a dude. Freaks out. It's like, don't get me wrong, it's weird, but it's like, I feel like that's one of those things where, like, I would rather see that than, you know, the naked woman decomposing coming out of the bathtub. Like, I don't know. Where was the furry at? Was the furry in Dr. Sleep? I don't remember if it was or wasn't. It should have been if it wasn't. But no, it's just like, I don't know, she's screeching at, like, the dumbest shit, and I'm just like, you know, your kid's being chased with an axe in a fucking maze right now. You got it okay. You ain't too bad. Calm down a little bit. Yeah, there ain't much. I mean, I'm not gonna go through this thing piece by piece. It's a brilliant movie. Fucking 5 stars, 10 stars, all whatever the star rating is, just double it and give it all to this movie. It's timeless. It really is. Like, even though it has like that 1970s look, even though it's 1980, it definitely has like a 70s vibe to it. It's still timeless. Like, I can watch that today, and it's still just as enjoyable today as it was then. And the crazy thing to think about is, it's considered a horror classic. In fact, when I was a kid, it was already considered a horror classic. But when it came out, it was shat on, and it didn't make a whole lot of money. And I thought that was the only thing I really loved about Dr. Sleep was when it kind of came out to this lukewarm reception. And, you know, critics were kind of like, people were just like, nah, didn't make a whole lot of money. And unfortunately, I mean, you can't say it any other way. I mean, it was a failure, but it was so brilliant. And I just feel like, give it time. I'm not saying Dr. Sleep will ever be on the level of The Shining, and it won't. But I do think it's going to get, you know, just due in the future. I think it's a classic ready to be made. There was another miniseries that they did, a remake, if you will. I believe in '97. It has Steven Weber as Jack Torrance. I own it too. I watched it when I was a kid. It is definitely more like the book, but the unfortunate thing is it's hampered by TV production values, especially '97 TV production values. I don't know. Like, I think Jack Nicholson's greatness. I love his character. And that's the thing, like, King's big argument was just like, he seemed psychotic before. It's like, who gives a fuck? Like, that's the character. Even though, like, in the book, maybe he has more moments of tenderness. From the view of the kid, no, the dad was always a bit of a dick. Like, he was a bit of an alcoholic dick. So, you know what? We don't need... And, I mean, in this movie, it conveys that perfectly. The kid's definitely more of a mama's boy. He always gravitates to his mom. And, I don't know, like, Jack Torrance, he just seems like a real American male. You know, I don't know. Most people, I don't think, has, like, that... I mean, maybe today. Today's generation is totally different, so I'm sure, you know, all the parents just hug the shit out of their kids. But he seems like the kind of dad from the day, like, you know, he'd come home, you don't fucking mess with him. Just, you know, he worked all day, leave him alone. You know, he just wants to be, but... And you can just tell, he's definitely not happy with the life. You know, he loves his kid. He loves his wife. At the same time, though, he's just like, fuck. This is not where I thought I'd be at this age. And he's a struggling writer, and that's not going good for him. And coupled that with the alcoholism, he's having a bit of a rough spell. You know, I don't want to see him just all like, come here, Danny, I love you. No, he needs to be a little on edge and a bit, you know, a bit of that psychosis going through it. I don't know. The movie's just brilliant. That's just all there is to it. I want to stop talking about it. The movie's just fucking brilliant. If for some stupid reason you have never seen this movie, punch yourself in the dick right now. If you're a female, just give yourself a nice little box shot and then go rent this movie. Go watch this. Seriously. And at this point, I mean, it's probably way too overhyped. Like, I think if anybody who's literally a fan of horror but has never seen The Shining tried to watch it now, they probably wouldn't like it. They'd be like, I don't get what the hype's all about. But man, out there now, it's a technical masterpiece. It's a cinematic masterpiece. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant all around. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, let us know how we're doing down here. You know, if you got any movies you want me to review, you got some suggestions. I'm gonna start putting on the Twitter page, the TPS Twitter page. I'm gonna start putting like little suggestions on there, and I'll have like a little poll like, what movie do you think want me to review between these two? Right now, I'm just trying to hit the big heavyweights. I feel like hit the heavyweights, get them out of the way, and then kind of go from there. So that's all I got, guys. Seriously, thank you so much for watching. Till next time.
Didn't always run, sorry. Hi. Thank you for watching that video. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to our channel. All that good stuff you do right here on YouTube, go ahead and do it. Check out our other videos. Go to our playlist. We got episodes of TPS TV, Journey Through the Dark Side. We got a new show coming out, the horror movie review with Daniel Richardson. This guy. And of course, our short film, Entropy. You can find all that and more right here on YouTube. And then check out, yeah, look at that. All of our social media right there. And we don't just, you know, copy and paste like the same post and put it on all. No, that's ridiculous. 3 different platforms, 3 different posts. I mean, the behind the scenes stuff you see on Twitter will not be the same stuff you see on Instagram. So there you go right there. So be sure to get on, give us a follow and a like on all that right there. Keep up to date. Have you seen Unspeakable Acts yet? No? Come on. Pick you up the DVD right now. Links over there. Oh yeah. It's only $7. $3 shipping and handling. And of course, if you've already seen it and you haven't seen the Public Domain Dungeon yet, boom, $5 DVD right there. So 5 S&P as well. Or sorry, 3 S&P as well. So there you go. Do that. And if you got the spare change, you want to hit us up, you know, donate a little bit over here to TPS Productions. Our Patreon is right there. Oh yeah. So that's all we. Oh my God, sorry. I'm getting fired, ain't I? Yeah, that's all we got. Thank you for watching.